Good afternoon, ma'am, and congratulations on your remarkable achievement in the Indian Forest Service examination. And we are proud to have you here with us today.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here.
Ma'am, could you please provide a brief introduction of yourself?
My name is Kavya. I have secured All India Rank 7 in UPSC Indian Forest Services examination. I am from Chikmagaluru district of Karnataka. I have done my schooling in my native. Post that I did my engineering from Ambedkar Institute of Technology. Later that I worked in a company called Mindtree Limited for 4 years. During my working, I started to prepare for Indian Forest Services and the civil services. During that time, I appeared for the free coaching with, examination provided by the Indian Karnataka government. So I cleared that examination and got into the coaching in Delhi, that is Vajiraman Ravi, and I completed the coaching in 2019, and I appeared for that year, and that year I cleared prelims and mains, and I reached till interview, but I could not get my name in the finalist. After that, I appeared for the prelims 3 times, and I could not clear the prelims for 3 years, either due to GS or due to CSAT. So later that I gave an attempt in 2023 only forest for the forest services, and then here I cleared all the stage and got a rank of 7.
Okay, even in all these up and downs, what really motivated you to pursue your career in civil or forest service?
So basically, first of all, I started this journey by seeing the job profile of this civil services and forest services. This is one such job where we can bring in the visible impact in the people's life. We could change the people's life in a betterment. And along with that, the diversity of the job, where I have already worked in private sector where it is mostly monotonous and is on the desk job kind. So here this job provides the opportunity to be in a different field and also in the ground level where interacting with the people. So this is the second reason which motivated me for the civil services examination. To be particularly for the forest services, recently I heard someone saying that forest service is IFS is Indian future service, where we are seeing the impact of climate change and the global warming in today's era. So I believe this forest service will be the future which will help the country towards the sustainable development. So this would become a base for any of the sustainable development or any future development. So this is where I felt that I should prepare for the forest services.
Okay, what are the difficulties you faced during your preparation?
Initially, the difficulties came with respect to the mentorship and the guidance. So I did not have the proper guidance, and the way I used to study for this exam, though I took a coaching, was not proper, in the sense was not aligned to the demand of the exam. So that is why I could not clear. Though I cleared 2019 prelims that was with a slight margin of 1 or 2 marks in the civil services. After that, I could not clear prelims mainly because of that reason, that my preparation strategy was not aligned towards the prelims demand. So this was the main challenge I faced in this journey. While in that period, I faced the issue of mental health because I reached the interview stage and later I did not clear the prelims. And many of my friends who were my roommates have cleared and they went on to become IPS or IAS. So that kind of dragged me somewhere. So because of that, I faced the issue of that fear of missing out or fear of failure. All these things caused the anxiety and in the end mental health issue. So these two were the main hurdles which I faced. What helped me to overcome these is the change in the preparation strategy from 2022. That is mainly because one of my cousin who was very good in prelims, I took the help of that person and changed my strategy towards the prelims, and that helped me to clear the forest cutoff. And for the mental health issues, I started to accept that I am facing these anxiety issues. Acceptance came first, and then I sought the help of friends and family. And family has been the motivation and the pillar of strength for me. And one more important thing was that I started to do meditation and vipassana. So this helped me to become a conscious of my thoughts, and that helped me to identify my fear or the anxiety and then address those issues. So this is how I kept myself in the track.
If you would have to give one advice to your younger self, what would that be?
So younger self, if I say it 5 years back when I started this preparation, or when I failed this exam and then started for the prelims, so that would I would consider that as my younger self, and I will give the advice that take this exam as an exam and be logical. This is one job. This is just one job, where job opportunity where you can just have to clear the exam and consider it as a job, not as a life and death question, or don't take it emotionally.
To what an extent do you think social media is a distractor? Where you were there on social media during your preparation days?
The question of social media, I would say it is personal. It is depends on the individual. So there are people who use social media. I saw a couple of people who were YouTubers and it cleared the examination. So this is again the personal choice where they will stop. So how much the times they are spending, how much mental effort they are putting on social media. So this is a personal choice. If it comes to me, I was not in social media during my preparation days, except in WhatsApp and Telegram. So it was my personal choice.
What role has statecraft played in your success?
When it comes to the statecraft, I started my interview journey for the Indian Forest Services from statecraft. The day I started the interview preparation, I came to the statecraft. I approached Ankita ma'am, and she has been there for me throughout my interview preparation, and she helped me with the DAF analysis. And whenever I faced issue of underconfidence, or when I was not able to frame the answer, I used to approach her and she used to give inputs, and that helped me in many aspects. Especially the group mocks which we used to discuss here, students, that helped me in gathering the content and framing my answers, and also pushing my confidence up. So I would say the interview preparation journey was completely dependent on the Statecraft Institute.
Any motivational mantra you want to give to the aspirants?
So motivational mantra, I would say work hard, be consistent in your journey or in your preparation, and be honest. Be honest with yourself and with your preparation. So we might end up ignoring some of our mistakes. So that should not be done. Here we should be honest, but at the same time we should not be hard on ourselves. So there is a thin line between those two. So that needs to be taken care. Along with that, as I mentioned previously, that take this exam as an exam. So in that process, if we take it as an exam, we will be very logical. We will not go emotional, and the chances of clearing this exam will be high if we take it logically.
Please give your prelim strategy and IFS mains strategy.
Yes. So if it comes to the prelim strategy, initially I was not clearing the prelims, and even I was struggling with GS also. And in 2022 and 23, I was getting clearing the forest cutoff. So the change which I did between these two attempts is the way I used to approach the paper. So mainly before I used to approach it in a way that I used to recall whatever I read in the examination hall, or whenever I saw the question which is unfamiliar, or I have not read kind of questions, I used to get panic, or I used to skip those questions. But from 2022, I realized that even with our limited knowledge, we can solve the question in GS. So there I started to solve many mock from 2022. Mock, that to full length mocks, open mocks which are given from the institutes. Go sit there and write those mocks in an exam like condition, and come back and analyze each and every question. I did not focus on the marks which I am getting. I focused on the questions, each and every question which I got wrong. I categorized those questions into factual question and the conceptual question. So I made sure that I should not get wrong in conceptual question, because factual question can go wrong, but the concept should be very strong. So after going through that conceptual part, I used to go back to my basic books, not the coaching institute synopsis or anything. I used to go back to the basics books, for example Lakshmikant or Spectra, and read it from there. Whatever the questions I got wrong, read it from there. This helped me to build my basics even more stronger, and also it in turn helped me to revise the concepts from my books, and at the same time analyze what went wrong. So how did I make those mistakes? So this kind of approach helped me to be present in the question in the examination hall, and solve those questions which kind of logical in UPSC GS. At the same time, my main focus was on previous year questions. Every day in the last month of preparation, every day I used to solve 20 to 30 previous year questions. In the last 1 week, I used to take previous year question paper and sit for 1.5 hour, not 2 hour, 1.5 hour, and solve the paper in exam like condition, so that I should get all the questions right. I used to attempt 100 out of 100 questions because they were previous year questions, and I used to make sure all the questions I should get right, because we are already familiar with those questions. And in this process, two things helped. One, to understand the language of the UPSC. Second, and focus on the important themes which repeatedly asked by the UPSC. UPSC tend to ask some of the questions, for example fundamental rights, DPSPs, and the preamble. So these kind of questions are repeated. So this helped me to revise those topics multiple times. So this is the change which I did between the years, and it worked for me. If it comes to the mains, for mains, particularly for the Indian Forest Services, I have optionals of two, that is geology and the forestry. For geology, I took coaching from Planet Geology, and forestry I did self-study. But along with that, I used some YouTube videos for the forestry. If it comes to the geology, what I did was I took a coaching. Whatever they were teaching, I was solely relied on that institute, and I made a notes out of it. But along with that, I used PYQs. Previous year questions, I kept it like a Bible. Before the class, I used to go, before any concept is taught, I used to go through the PYQs. I used to get an idea that what kind of questions it comes, and then attend the class. After attending the class, again go back to the PYQs, whether those questions are covered. And I used to make sure that every topic, whichever the repeated topics, are covered in my notes. And once it is done, and so I gave enough time for the revision. During my revision, what I used to do was take PYQs, and in my mind itself, I used to write answers. Make a structure for that question. During my revision itself, if I am revising one topic from crystallography, so I used to get a PYQ and take a question, and then revision is analyzed based on PYQs. Similarly, I did the same for forestry also. Forestry, PYQs were my Bible. And for forestry, I used hornbill classes which were free in YouTube. Along with that, I used a Manikandan book. Here also I used the same strategy, use PYQs, and whenever I study or revise, and take a PYQs and make a mind map of those questions. Along with these two, I wrote answers. Those are also previous year question. I did not take up any coaching institute test series. I wrote the answers, and this helped me to cover the subject very well. And also the repeated topics were covered well enough, and I had already the notes for those, and also they were stuck in my mind. If I take an example, there were couple of questions in geology, for example zoning. That was a question, or it was asked every other year. So for that question I did not take more than 4 minutes to write the answer, because I had already written that twice or thrice in my mind. So this strategy helped me to score good in forestry and as well as geology.
I think this part was like really.
Your dedication and hard work are truly inspiring, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and insights with us, and we wish you all the success and fulfillment in your role.
Thank you so much.